Ladies and gentlemen, World Day to Combat Desertification falls 3 days before the opening of the United Nations Conference on Sustainable Development in Rio. Halting land degradation must be a part of new roadmap for sustainable development. This challenge affects the well-being and livelihoods of 150 million people worldwide, and especially dryland communities. If we do not act now, the threat will deepen in the future, from the pressures of human activities and population growth, and from the impact of climate change. UNESCO is acting where needs are urgent. We have established with Princeton University the African Drought Monitor, a remotely sensed system to monitor droughts and mitigate their impact in the Horn of Africa and across the continent. We are about to launch a global groundwater monitoring network program for the region to assess groundwater quantity and quality. UNESCO's International Hydrological Program has launched the Water and Development Information for Arid Lands, a global network known as GWADI, to deepen cooperation in dryland regions. Our global project, the Sustainable Management of Marginal Drylands, provides a platform to share research by dryland scientists and ensure the conservation of soil, biodiversity, and water resources. Thanks to the UNESCO IHE Institute for Water Education, we are training the next generation of engineers to develop practical solutions for better water management. UNESCO's new engineering initiative seeks to ensure enough engineers are trained, especially in developing countries. The fight against desertification must start as early as possible, and it must begin with education. This is why the Education Kit on Combating Desertification, produced by UNESCO and the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification, is designed for primary schools, along with our Teaching Resource Kit for dryland countries. All of this is part of UNESCO's contribution to the United Nations Decade on Education for Sustainable Development that started in 2005, for which we are the lead agency. In all of this, we work shoulder to shoulder with the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification. This includes our cooperation as members of the Interagency Task Force for the United Nations Decade for Deserts and the fight against desertification. But we must do more. Our efforts must be as inclusive as possible, involving scientists, teachers, and policymakers, as well as, most importantly, dryland dwellers themselves, whose experience and knowledge we must support. These are our core messages for Rio+20. Fertile land is an essential, finite resource for sustainable development. We must act now to halt its degradation.